Hey guys, Stephen Bogran here, Pro Physique. Today, I'm going to talk about why you aren't getting the gains you want. Oh shit, where'd they go? What is up, everybody? Stephen Bogran here, Pro Physique, and we're doing a late night video. Now, I know I've been a little delinquent in putting out content as of late. I am getting ready to move. This is one of the last videos that you're going to see in this wonderful office. I will be moving over on the other side of the bay here soon. So I've just been super busy getting all of the water, sewage, and just sort of going through all of the process of getting everything set and ready, packing things up for the move. As some of you know, there is also a giant-ass hurricane coming in, sort of towards Florida. So there has been a bit of my attention that has been taken up by that as well. But I digress. As I stated earlier, what I wanted to talk about today are some of the reasons why you might not be making the gains or the progress that you think you should be. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this, but let me start off with what I think is the most evident, and probably what I would say is the first and foremost reason, is that with training, you just get diminishing returns. So the longer that you've been training, the more difficult it is for you to continue progressing. You still have to continue to increase volume. You have to deal with your intensity. You have to make sure that you have left room for frequency, time, these sorts of things, right? So FIT principle, frequency, intensity, time, type. So are we still able to increase these values? And so what we see is that diminishing return value, right? And so I think that this is one of the easiest explanations for why maybe you're not seeing the same kind of progress that you saw when you started off, right? So the body, there's kind of this big adaptation first. In that first year, it's really easy to put on muscle and you can get a lot of progress made. In that second year, you can still make a lot of progress, but it's definitely not as much. That third year, definitely not as much. Fourth year, and so on and so forth. And then when you've been training for a long time, I myself have been training for about 5 years. I'm probably pretty lucky to get a pound or two out of muscle on every year. At least as a natural athlete anyways. And then that's given that I'm doing a good job and I'm keeping things as close to optimal or as optimal as possible, right? So what are those things that you need to pay attention to that are going to help you to squeeze out every last drop, right? So first and foremost is going to be your training. Your training needs to be set up properly. That being said, if you don't know how to set up training, there are a ton of great coaches out there. And obviously, of course, they're going to be paying attention to factors like, where your volume is at, increasing that, making sure that we're overreaching you, but not overtraining you, giving you time to adapt after that period of overreaching, and then setting into a new block. What about food? Food is also a huge part of the equation, right? So I like to call protein the adaptive macronutrient, right? Protein is what we use to adapt. It's what we need to grow and to build new muscle in response to the training stimulus that is there. If we do not have adequate protein intake, we cannot build new muscle. So there are two parts to building muscle. One, protein, that increases the amount of new muscle that your body is making. Okay. The second is carbohydrates, that decreases the amount of muscle that your body is breaking down for energy. That's it. So, if you want to increase the amount of muscle that you are able to build, eat more carbs to prevent breakdown, and eat more protein, or, remember you have to properly space your protein out, eat more protein in the right settings, or adequate protein, to spike muscle protein synthesis and to maximize the amount of times a day that you can do so. Now, those are kind of the well-known, well-duh answers, right? How about some of the things that people tend not to pay attention to? Sleep. You need adequate sleep to be able to recover from your training sessions. To keep it simple, there are lots of hormonal influences that happen overnight. There's a little bit of shift in things like growth hormone that helps us to recover and to rebuild, right? So on top of that, if we are not getting adequate sleep, we are not recovering well. From the research that I have seen, you need a minimum of 6 hours of sleep a night. Now, that will vary from individual to individual, but saying that you need 6 hours of sleep a night as your base is a very good starting point. Now, the amount of sleep you get is going to directly help affect your stress levels. Remember, training is an acute stressor. That means it's short term. When we have long-term or chronic stressors, it can facilitate hormone release and changes in the body that are not going to help us to maximize our growth potential when it comes to muscle. So we want to make sure that we are paying attention to stress. We want to make sure that we are managing our stress and that we are not just ignoring it and simply allowing it to pile up on us. Sometimes that means taking a day for you, right? Sometimes that means taking a day away from the gym and just going off and doing something nice for yourself or something that you enjoy. It could be paddleboarding or kayaking or out on the beach, right? Those are all really Florida things. It could be getting your hair done, doing your nails, going out to see a movie. It's not as much about the activity. It's more about you being able to decompress and relax and let go of those everyday stresses, those things that have been weighing you down. That is what you need to look to do every so often. Here's one that I think a lot of people they give it too much importance, right? And that is supplements. Yes, supplements can help you to get better results. We know for a fact caffeine increases metabolic rate. We have seen that betaine can have some very positive results, right? So there are some supplements out there that have positive results and can increase the amount of bang that you get for your buck in terms of training. However, they are not going to do the work for you. The benefit that you're getting from them is not major. It is normally minimal. That being said, when you've been training for a while, a minimal benefit is a big benefit because you're not getting a lot in the first place, right? So the thing that you really need to do is to be able to determine whether or not your supplements actually do what they're claiming to do. There is a great website called examine.com that has very good scientifically based stances on supplements that are from looking at the research. So if you don't have time to do the research yourself on these supplements, examine.com is a great resource that you can use to look at said supplements you are considering using. Folks, those are my big ones. I hope it's getting you thinking about what's going on. Just sort of open your eyes a little bit to maybe some of the things that you were either not paying attention to or some things, and find some areas that you can tweak to make it a little bit better. Anyways, guys, that is it for me tonight. You have a great one. I'll talk to you soon.